Here we are at Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area, one of many Jackson County conservation properties that you can come and visit. Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area is a 273-acre property that you can come hike, view wildlife, hunt, and even primitive camp. It's located between Canton and Maquoketa on the western side of Jackson County along the Maquoketa River.
Here I am at Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area overlooking the Maquoketa River. This particular overlook is situated between the Canton and the Millertown canoe accesses, and from this vantage point the Maquoketa River is flawless and beautiful, and we hope that you take advantage of enjoying the river from both vantage points, both on the water and from up above. The goat prairie here at Buzzard Ridge is just as special as every other goat prairie you will find here in Jackson County. These isolated south-southwest facing bluffs up here on the ridgetop has a thin, shallow soil with a lot of plant life that we can't find in other areas. So these goat prairies are these micro-habitats of gorgeous plants that we can't find in our woodlands and our regular flatland prairies. This particular goat prairie can be found near the overlook here at Buzzard Ridge, and it is definitely worth your while to check out the plants as well as the gorgeous views.
Here at Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area, we have an opportunity to do some primitive camping. If you follow the trail all the way down to the river, there's a primitive campsite here. There's a pit toilet, there's a fire ring, and a picnic table, but not much else. If you decide to camp down here, it's a wonderful experience. You'll get immersed with the sounds of nighttime nature, but everything here is carry in, carry out. So there isn't trash cans, and if you want to camp down here, everything you bring, please take with you.
All right, adjacent to the primitive campground here at Buzzard Ridge is the Maquoketa River, and this is a great place for paddlers to stop and be able to camp for the night here at the campground. Do know that the Maquoketa River, the water levels are ever changing, always creating new sandbars. So do kind of paddle along here and find a good place to take out.
Here we are at another access for Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area off of E17. This access will take you to a trail that leads to the Maquoketa River. This trail is about a mile long, but due to the many creek crossings, it is hard to get mowers on, so the trail isn't always well maintained.
One fun aspect, or maybe cumbersome depending on who you talk to, is the numerous creek crossings along this trail. Alright, well, if you decided to head down the trail here on the west side of the park, you will make it to the Maquoketa River here at the end. Like we said earlier, the trail isn't well maintained because of all the creek crossings, so we do recommend wearing pants. Watch out for some nettles, but you have a great view of the river when you get here. And actually, you can see over there on the bluff is the overlook of the other section of Buzzard Ridge, and the goat prairie is up there in that clearing.
Here along the Maquoketa River, we have some prime beaver habitat. Right here, you can see this is a beaver chew. And a beaver chew is when beavers come onto land and they chew the base of a tree to hopefully knock that tree over, because beavers love to eat the young leaves, the young branches, and the cambium, that fresh layer underneath the bark of a tree. That's one of their primary food sources.
All right, here we are at Levston Shelter. This is on the west side of the park at Buzzard Ridge Wildlife Area. And this is a type of rock shelter. And so you can see how the bluff here, the rock overhangs, kind of provides this sort of shelter place. This one happens to be south facing, which gives you some nice sun exposure to heat up the rock and also protects you from north and west prevailing winds, which made it a good spot for Native Americans to utilize these rock shelters as shelter, especially during the winter months. The Maquoketa River is just through the trees over here, and you have an abundance of resources here in the woodlands. This shelter was excavated by Paul Sagers back in the 1930s, and Paul Sagers is a native of Jackson County. And many of the artifacts that he discovered here are now with the Office of the State Archaeologist at the University of Iowa. One note that if you do want to come out and check out this rock shelter, I recommend coming out in the early spring or later in the fall, and it's much easier to wander through the woods and find the shelter here. Check out this old map of the park. This was a previous trail map that we had,
and you can see some features that are highlighted. So feel free to wander the woods in search of the Natural Bridge and Goose Rock.